What's up everybody, RetroWolf88 here, and today I've got a special video for you. Today I'm joined with
Nathan,
and we're going to do a new series on the channel where I meet with local game collectors. I interview them, learn about their collection, how they built their collection. Maybe they'll have some advice for some new and existing game collectors out there. So we're going to do an interview with Nathan here today, and then we're going to take a look at his awesome game collection in his game room. So kick back, relax, hit that subscribe button, and let's get into my very first local collector interview. Nathan, thanks for joining me today, man. I appreciate you letting me come into your home and film your game room and giving me permission to throw you on the internet, on the World Wide Web. So I'm going to ask you a series of questions. Now I just want to let everybody know that Nathan does not know the questions I'm going to ask. I didn't give them to him ahead of time, so these are all on the spot questions. So first thing I want to ask you, Nathan, tell us a little bit about yourself, just a few things, whatever you want to share, and tell us about your history with gaming. Just a brief rundown of your history as a gamer.
well, not a lot about myself. I just work like everybody else.
Yeah.
My history with gaming's always been a part of my family.
Mm-hmm.
My father bought the first game system we had, which I still have, my Coleco,
Mm-hmm.
and we've just played throughout the years and enjoyed it together.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's basically what got me into it.
All right, Nathan. So tell me what got you into gaming, and tell me a few of your favorite gaming memories.
Well, what got me into gaming goes back to the first question. You know, it was always something that my family did together.
Mm-hmm.
Some of my best memories are playing with my late brother.
Yep.
Playing with cousins.
Yep.
You know, we've done complete playthroughs of some of the games that are still my favorite because of the memories that we made with them.
Yep.
And, so it's something that I can always turn to for those memories. Makes me happy.
You know, I completely agree with everything you said. Gaming does create a lot of really awesome memories with friends and family. Like my brother that I lost, you know, me and him, we played through a lot of games together on the GameCube during the GameCube era. We played through Soul Calibur 2. I'm trying to remember. We played through Resident Evil 4. We would kind of swap out the controller every now and then. And man, I would get home from work back when I used to work at a restaurant, Steak and Shake. I would get off work at like 10 o'clock at night. I would go to his place, and me and him would play games until like 2 or 3 in the morning. It was just awesome. It was just good times. So yeah, I can really appreciate the just all the memories that gaming can bring with, you know, your kids and your siblings, and even sometimes with your parents.
Yeah.
You know, you're fortunate that you've got two parents that actually play games.
Yeah.
Mine unfortunately do not, so I wasn't able to really build those memories, but you know, that's pretty cool. Nathan, what's your favorite game genre, and tell me why?
It has always been role-playing games.
Yeah.
For me, not only do you get more out of a game that way,
Yes.
but to take on that role and to become that person in the game, to where you can shape the world however you like, or if you're just the hero of the story. I always like that. I had a hard time when role-playing games let you choose to be the bad guy.
Yeah, right.
I always wanted to be the hero, so even trying to do a couple playthroughs as the bad guy, I never really did. I always wanted to be that hero, so it's really cool.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite role-playing games?
I mean, we could be cliche. Skyrim, of course.
Yeah, of course.
One of my favorite role-playing games was Dragon Quest 8 on the PlayStation 2. Really well-balanced game. Everything about it just was really fun, man. The characters in it, drawn by Akira Toriyama.
Oh yeah, really?
Which was either drawn by or inspired by. I can't remember. It's been a long time.
Yeah. So
that was probably one of my favorite of all time. And the original Zeldas, you know.
Right, of course. I'm ashamed to say that I've never played a Dragon Quest game. Actually, no, I played one on the Game Boy, or the Game Boy Color, a long time ago. But other than that, I don't have a lot of experience with the Dragon Quest series, but I hear that the new one that just came out is pretty good.
Dragon Quest 11.
Yeah. Have you
I'm
played
wait for
it?
it to drop on the Switch.
Yeah.
I want to play it on the Switch. So
And that's what, in a couple of months, right?
I believe it was in the fall, actually.
Yeah, that's right. They didn't give a date, I don't think.
I think they have dropped it somewhere around fall.
Yeah. But yeah, no, RPG games are great, man. And there's so many good ones out there, just from the freaking NES era all the way to today. You know, and there's a lot of them that are hidden gems too.
There is definitely a lot of hidden gems in the role-playing game.
You got a few hidden gems you can throw out to people to check out?
Well, yeah, I do. If you reach behind you right there on the top of the PlayStation Portables, you can. This is an adventure RPG that I found for the PSP, and everything about it's really fun. I think when it came out, some of the people might have been thrown off a little by the cutesy art style, and the main character being a young girl, but I think that is definitely a hidden gem of a role-playing style game.
It looks really cool, and for those of you that maybe can't see it on the camera, it's called Gurumon, A Monstrous Adventure. And yeah, this actually looks like a really cool game, and I've never heard of this game before, and I kind of want to go buy a copy. It says on the back it's a 3D action RPG from the creators of the Ys or Ys series, however you want to pronounce it.
Series.
Yeah, that looks pretty cool. What are a few of your favorite games of all time and why? Just a couple of them.
A few of my favorite games of all time. Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, I was young when it came out, and everything about it was just really fun. People were talking about it, and once you start getting real far in the game, you know, you could explore different areas, branching paths, and it was really cool. And then we got to go to Zaxxon for the ColecoVision.
Zaxxon, I don't think I've ever played that one. Do you have that game?
I do have Zaxxon. Yeah. I have Zaxxon for the ColecoVision and the 32X.
Yeah.
It's made on the Master System, I believe. I want to get a complete Zaxxon collection at one point.
Yeah, I have that game on the Master System.
Yeah, I've seen it in your video, and I gotta get that.
And they have a 3D version for the Master System too, I think. A Zaxxon 3D, where if you have the 3D glasses. Yeah.
So that's one of my favorite games.
Cool.
Dragon Quest VIII was always a big game for me. I put a lot of time in it, and it was just a lot of fun. So that was definitely one of my favorites. Something that might be a little weird for some people, a game that I enjoyed a lot on the Sega Genesis was Sonic Spinball.
That, you know what? That is a really good game.
I had a lot of fun with that game. I played through the whole thing, trying to get the Chaos Emeralds in it. It was just a really fun game.
Hard as hell, too.
It was pretty hard.
But who would have thought taking Sonic and making a pinball game that's pinball, but it still feels like a Sonic game?
It works perfectly.
That's insane. And I haven't seen anything like it since.
No, it was a one-off, and
definitely
they should probably make more of them.
They really should. They really should. Sega, if you're watching this, which I know you're not, please make a sequel to Sonic Spinball. You got to make it happen, because that was a very original and unique game. So let's get a sequel to it. All right, kind of piggybacking off some of your favorite games of all time. Tell me, what is one of your favorite consoles of all time, or if you even have a couple of favorite consoles of all time, and why?
I've got a couple, I would say. The ColecoVision is by far my favorite console. The variety that you get with it, the peripherals that you could get for it. For its time, it did a lot of things that game systems are still doing to this day. So that was something that I really enjoyed. The Super Nintendo, it was a memory builder with me and my family. All of us sitting around playing it. So that was a really big game console for me. And the PlayStation 2. That was where I really found my niche for the games that I liked to play alone. And found a lot of the gaming habits that I have today were developed from playing the PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
So those were probably my three favorite systems.
And we're gonna show off the ColecoVision and all the games that he has once we get done with the interview. And you know, one thing that I've noticed about the ColecoVision is it seems to be of much higher quality than, say, the Atari. But yet you don't ever hear anybody talking about the ColecoVision. It's like it fell under the radar, or at least today. Today, when you hear people talking about some of the really old consoles, they always talk about Atari. I never hardly ever hear anybody talking about the ColecoVision, and it's a shame because, like you said, it's a really cool console.
It's a great console.
It is. And the PS2, I mean, it had probably one of the best library of games ever to hit any console. I mean, there were like, I think 2,000 games
somewhere around there
in North America for the PS2, and there's such good quality, so many hidden gems. So I can definitely see why those would be some of your favorite consoles. So when did you get back into game collecting, and how did you start to build your collection up like this?
I don't think that I've actually been collecting, but for a couple of years now. I just started thinking about the games that I enjoyed.
Yeah, right.
Some of the nostalgia factor of the games that I used to play, I wanted to play them again. So I started going out to try to find them. And most of everything that I have is thrift store, flea markets, yard sales. I try to avoid going out and buying them from internet providers or resellers or anything like that. I'd rather try to find them out in the wild.
Yeah, it's a lot more fulfilling that way when you find them out in the wild.
It's fun to me.
It is. It is a lot of fun.
I love to take my youngest son out.
Mm-hmm.
He loves to go out and find games with me.
Mm-hmm.
If he sees something, he'll snatch it up and run it over to me. So that's always a good time.
Yeah. What you said really spoke to me, because I think that's why we're seeing a huge resurgence in people collecting these older games, because people our age, we start to want to get that nostalgic feeling. You know what I mean? And nothing, in my opinion, nothing is more nostalgic than playing games that you used to play when you were a kid or when you were a teenager, because it really brings back a lot of those memories, like we talked about earlier, a lot of those really good family memories. So I think that's why we're seeing a huge resurgence in retro collecting, because of people our age. And then feeding off of that, people that are younger than us are seeing a lot of people our age collect older games, and so a lot of younger people are getting into these older games too, which I think is awesome. Seeing some of the younger generations that haven't had a lot of exposure to these retro games are starting to get into them. Like, your kids,
Oh, yes.
So that, to me, that's just really awesome.
It is. And if you think about it, our generation was really the first generation that had the opportunity, well, my generation anyway, to be born in a family with the gaming systems involved in their family.
Yep.
So I consider my age the pioneers.
The pioneers.
Of the retro gaming community.
I can see that. That makes sense to me. All right, man, what are some of your game collecting goals? Like, what are some of your goals as a game collector with your collection, stuff that you want to try to, maybe a collection you want to try to complete, or what are some of your goals?
Honestly, for me, it's not about a goal. It's something I enjoy. I like to play the games. So I don't have any goals other than finding things that I can enjoy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Plus, that takes some of the pressure off, because, I've got several goals, and it's like, man, it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of money to reach these goals, and it takes some of the, it kind of takes some of the, it's fun to have goals and try to reach them, but it still takes some of the spontaneous nature of just going out and just getting whatever, which I still do that, but yeah, no, I completely appreciate and respect you not actually having a goal and just wanting to have fun with it and just buy what you want to buy.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Almost every game collector has that one item that they just really want in their collection, that holy grail item, the thing that they've been looking for years, and usually it's something really rare or really hard to find. It could be a game, it could be a console. What's that holy grail item for you as a collector?
I don't really have a holy grail for my collection. I have an overall love of pretty much everything games. And there are some things that I would like. The steering wheel module for the ColecoVision.
Oh, yeah, right.
The attachment for the Sega Genesis that lets you play the Master System games, which is really cool. And there's a karaoke machine for the Sega Genesis.
Really?
I know I'll never have that. I've looked them up before, but I think that would be neat.
Are they expensive?
Yeah. They're pretty expensive, and I think they were only released in Japan.
Oh, okay.
They do a lot of karaoke over there, so I could see why that would have been a thing.
Yeah.
But I think that would be really neat to have.
So I'm looking at your collection, and it's pretty impressive what you've got here. You've got some good stuff, like a really good variety of stuff too. So what I want to ask you is, what tips or advice do you have to new or existing collectors out there to help them build their collection? That, where to look for games, maybe how to wheel and deal with people. What kind of advice do you have for other collectors?
One thing that I think makes a big difference is don't be afraid to talk to people about it.
Yes.
I know that there are some other gamers out there that I've talked to that nobody knew they collected games or had an interest in it because there was some reservation about saying, hey, I collect video games. Because there are some people that are going to give an awkward stance on that.
Right.
I tell everyone that I think, that I know, and I think if you just ask questions, do you have anything that you want to get rid of? Do you have any friends that, you've been over their house, a bunch of junk laying around? And as far as the way that I like to get games or negotiate price or anything like that, for most everyone, they have an ideal of what it's worth to them.
Mm-hmm.
Find the people that don't collect to buy from.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not saying try to rip anybody off.
Right.
I've actually, which maybe kind of faux pas for some collectors and resellers, I've told people online before, hey, you should probably ask more for that.
Mm-hmm.
And people really appreciate that kind of thing. And a lot of the times they'll turn around and say, well, I would give you a good deal on it since you were being honest.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that can make a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to people, be friendly about it, and have a good time.
Yep. I completely agree with everything that he just said. I've also had the same experiences. You know, if you just let everybody you know that you're collecting video games, don't be ashamed of it. Because look, today, now back in the day, there did used to be a stigma, you know, back in the NES, Super Nintendo, even the PlayStation era, where people that played games were sort of looked down upon by a lot of people. But now there's a wider variety of people in today's society than ever before playing video games of all different ages, and it's great. It's a great time to be a gamer. So don't be ashamed to tell people you collect video games, because just like Nathan, that's how I've built a lot of my collection, is by talking to friends and family, co-workers, letting them know that I collect. And a lot of times they'll be like, oh yeah, I've got some old stuff in storage, you know. And sometimes they'll give it to you free, or they'll sell it to you cheap, or whatever, you know. It varies on the person. But you gotta talk to people. That is the biggest thing. You gotta talk to people. And when you're out hunting for games, like Nathan said, be friendly to people. You know, try to find a common ground with people and have a conversation with them. The friendlier you are to people, most of the time you're gonna have better results, and you may even get better deals. So that's great advice, man. Great advice. That's all the questions I'll have for you today, man. Do you have anything else that you want to say? Anything else you want to say to the audience, or you know, anything else about yourself you want to add, or your collection? And we're going to do a tour of the game room in just a moment.
Have fun, man. Enjoy what you do.
Yep.
If you get to a point to where you don't enjoy it anymore, probably not what you should have been starting with.
That is true. That is true.
Always go out, try to have fun, try to get other people to have fun with it. I've met a lot of people where we start to talk about it and they're like, man, I wish I could play those games again. It's like, dude, come over. Let's do this.
Yes.
Let's get you back into it, man.
Right.
You know, enjoy life.
Right. Yep. That is absolutely true. Because at the end of the day, isn't that what playing games is all about? Having fun. So game collecting is no different. It's all about having fun. So that's awesome.
Yeah, man.
All right. We're going to move on to the tour of the game room.
So over here I've got some Nintendo stuff. You'll see with a lot of my collection, there's no real rhyme or reason to the way that I've got it put together. I just put it all up so I can see it. We've got the Switch, the Wii U, some DS games, some advanced games, some Game Boy and Game Boy Color games down in the bottom. Not a whole lot, but always to work on. And the Switch games I have over on the other side. I don't have much for the Wii U. Brand new to it, but we're going to get collecting on that and see what we can play.
Yeah, cool.
And over here we have the majority of my games that I have in my collection, excluding some of the Xbox 360 games and my Xbox One games. My son has all those for him to play, so I didn't bring them down for that. But I do have some of the Intellivision games here with the IntelliVoice synthesis module. I haven't had a chance to use it because I don't have an Intellivision, but I think that's pretty cool. A few of the 32X PS3, and there is the Switch that I have. I don't have a lot for the original PlayStation yet.
Yeah.
That's something that I'm going to get into at a later date. I have quite a few Atari games, and one of my favorite systems, the ColecoVision. And one thing that we talked about earlier was the labeling that Coleco used is really nice, really appealing.
Yeah, those look really cool.
So that's really cool.
Yeah, I like those.
We talked earlier about Dragon Quest VIII was one of my favorite games. So when it came out, they had a limited edition slime controller for the PlayStation 2, made by Hori.
That looks really uncomfortable.
It's very awkward to play with, but I did use it for Dragon Quest VIII, and I've had it since then. And the Sega Genesis, I really like that system. I always thought it was just fun. They had a lot of stuff that was fun to play on. And then we have some GameCube, not a lot there. Decent amount of PSP games. It's a system that I have a lot of fun with. A lot of variety, a lot of the original PlayStation games you can get on it, which is nice.
Yep.
Because you can just play them on the go then. We'll go up here. I actually have This is one of my favorite things. It's from the 80s, the Kubert tabletop arcade machine. I always thought those were really cool when I was young. We didn't have any in the house. They were expensive back then, and I always wanted one. So when I found that, I jumped on it pretty quick.
That's pretty neat. I've never seen one of those before.
I don't see a lot of them out there anymore, but there's other games that they made with, like, I think Pac-Man and a few other games that you can get in the tabletop arcade.
Yeah, right.
So I think it'd be cool to get all of those at some point. The PlayStation audiophile model.
So tell us, what is the audiophile model? What's up with that?
The audiophile PlayStation, when they designed it as a media center, kind of, I guess you could say. So It has the output for audio and video on it, so you could play CDs. I'm not sure why it has a video out, what it would play on that. It's not DVD compatible. So there might be something that you can do with that somewhere. But it's supposed to have a really great sound quality. Some people say that it doesn't make a difference. I believe that it does. I've used the PlayStation regular and the audiophile on the same TV just to kind of test the audio quality, and it definitely sounds a lot richer, deeper tones, higher pitches.
That's awesome.
With the audiophile. So I think it does make a difference.
That's awesome.
A decent Xbox 360 collection. It was a system that I had a lot of fun with. Me and my late brother, we played a lot of 360 together. So I've gotten some of the games that we played together just to reminisce on sometimes.
Absolutely.
Super Nintendo, one of my favorite systems. Not a huge collection in some of this stuff. But I do have the games that I really enjoyed to play. And that's one of the things that I like to do. Just get the stuff I enjoy.
Yep.
The original Nintendo, the second system that we had at my house. So a lot of the games I have there, again, were games I had as a child that I wanted to play again. Now the Sega Master System I did not have growing up. A friend of mine had one, and I played it just a couple of times at his house, and I thought, man, this is really nice. So that is a system that I'm trying to collect for right now. I really enjoy it. The games are really good quality. I think they're better than the original Nintendo.
I agree. Very high quality games.
So that's pretty neat on those. My PlayStation 2 collection, I've got a few games there. Again, a lot of the games that I enjoyed playing, and then some that I just kind of found in the wild and picked up. On the bottom shelves, we just have some of the extra stuff that I have. Got my ColecoVision Super Controllers, the light gun for the Dreamcast, I have that, and just some extra Wii stuff that I've got laying around.
What is that VGE enhancer down there on the bottom?
That's a video game enhancer. It was designed to where you run your system through it.
Yeah.
And it brightens up the game, because some games were so dark you could hardly play them. They almost seem broken. So it'll actually brighten up the game that is too dark to play. Works really well.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good item for retro collectors to keep an eye out on.
I was really surprised with how well it worked.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll talk about the systems that I have and the way I have them set up. Really random. I set it all up really random. I have the Model 1 Sega with the 32X attached to it, the Sega Master System, the 6-switch Atari 2600, and then I have the Magnavox Odyssey 2000. When it came out, I guess it was like a preloaded system. There's 4 games that you can play on it. I don't have a TV to use it on right now.
Right.
It's a little bit older than what I have, but I'm going to get one. And, then we'll play that later.
Nice.
I have the Model 2 Sega Genesis, which was the one I had as a child. So I was pretty happy to get that.
Let's see that TV. Let's see that TV cut on that little one.
The little TV?
Yeah.
Surprisingly, for such a small TV, it's got a really good picture. The sound's good on it. You would think with it being so small, it might be hard to play to look at, but it actually, the image is clear enough to where every game that I've put on there has been really clean and really good. So
yeah, that does look good. Even on the on this camera screen here, it looks really good, really clear.
I've thought about getting more of these little TVs to hook systems to.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because they just really work good. Over here, I have the majority of my older systems. Some of them aren't real old, like the 360. I got PlayStation 2, of course. On a TV stand I built myself. I wanted something that I could put a lot of stuff on, and I didn't see anything I liked in stores. So I just decided I was going to make it myself. I've got quite a few systems on it. The 2 Xboxes, the original, the 360, the Slim PS2. I do have the thick PS2s, but don't take up less space.
Right.
I've got a regular PlayStation. that one was actually my wife's PlayStation that was given to her for Christmas, I believe, or her birthday.
Yeah.
So we kept that. We got the Dreamcast, the GameCube, the 64, the Super Nintendo, and then, of course, one of my favorite of all time, my ColecoVision. And over on the side to it, I do have the expansion roller controller and the gaming module to play the Atari games on it as well. They make a Super Gaming module for it, and the steering wheel module. I don't have either of those. I'll probably be getting them though.
So how did you get this ColecoVision? What's the story behind that?
That ColecoVision was the first game system that my father bought.
Yeah.
He did tell me he went to a store, I forget which one, and Coleco as a company had gone out of business at that time. So the store was discounting all their Coleco stuff, and he bought everything that he could that day, which was the ColecoVision, the Super controllers that I have over on the other shelf, the roller controller he bought, and a few games. So we've had all of that since I was born, basically.
Wow. So that console has pretty much been a part of your life since you were a kid.
It has been with me forever.
So that is a very prized possession then, I would imagine.
It is.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. It works perfect. I've had to go through and clean a few things out. The power switch I had to take apart and clean. But other than that, it still works flawlessly.
That's awesome.
So that's really cool.
Yeah, that's cool because not very many people can say that they've got one of the original consoles that they had, whenever they were a kid. Because most of us, when we're kids, we're stupid and we sell the stuff off, and then we regret it later in life. So that's really awesome.
So over here, I just have a lot of miscellaneous stuff. I have my Game Boy Advances, a couple of PSPs, two different versions, the 3000, and then a blue one that I believe was only released in Japan that I found at a flea market. The Oregon Trail, and just some plug-and-play stuff. The DSs I have here. And then I have a Tiger R-Zone. Some people may not have seen those, but it was something I thought was neat that came out a long time ago. So it's something that I enjoyed as a child again, which kind of motivates everything that I do with my collecting.
Yeah, let's see the Tiger R-Zone.
Let's see the Tiger R-Zone.
You want to put it on?
Sure, we can put it on. Why not?
For all you out there watching, I put it on earlier, and it was pretty interesting.
It is one of the goofier looking things that you can have. You have to ignore the cord that hangs right in front of your eye that you use to look at the screen.
So can you explain what's happening here?
It has a fold down screen with a three-dimensional red look to it, kind of like the Virtual Boy had. A lot less advanced. It does take cartridges inside with a speaker that's really loud and annoying on the side here.
Yeah.
It does have a volume control on it, so you can at least change that. It has contrast and brightness on it. And I thought it was a really neat little thing when it first came out.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So I had to put one in my collection.
Would you ever play it in public?
Honestly, probably. I'm really not ashamed, and I think I get a lot of people asking about it.
They'll just walk up to you and say, "What the hell is that?"
Yeah. But I thought it was something that was neat.
That's pretty cool. I couldn't help but notice the Dragon Ball Z poster on the wall here.
Always been a fan of Dragon Ball Z.
Me too.
Dragon Ball Z Super has come out and played through, and the new Super Broly movie, can't wait to see it.
Yes.
I wanted to go sit in the theater. It was sold out, which is pretty big to say about an anime show.
Right, absolutely.
20 years after the original started, so that's...
It's huge.
A lot of people, they like, oh, do you like Dragon Ball Z? I'm like, yeah, so do just about everybody else.
Oh yeah, it's huge, man. It's like a multi-million-dollar franchise, easy.
Oh,
I mean,
yes,
it's just amazing. Thank you so much for watching my very first episode, interviewing a local collector and checking out their game room. There will be more of these to come. So if you enjoyed this video, please be sure and hit that like button. It really helps out a lot. And hit that subscribe button so that you can be tuned in for these videos in the future. I'm going to try to do one every month when at all possible. It's all going to depend on whether or not I find a local collector that's willing to be on camera like Nathan here. And again, I appreciate you allowing me to do this. It's been awesome. Yeah. And I hope everybody out there today enjoyed the video. And I'll see you all in the next video. Later.
millions and millions and millions of people. It's not like it was a long time ago. There is a wider variety of people playing.
Ah! You can put that in the blooper.
There's a.
I've been planning that for a long time.
There's. Wow. Good job. I was on a roll there, man. I was flowing.
That's what I had to wait for. I had to wait for your most vulnerable moment.
Devin's gonna love that.
Hold up. I made myself quite happy.
There. Damn it, man. You've completely just derailed me. Variety of people playing.
You can put that in the blooper.